Futurism Association. My name is Sohail Inayatullah, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about future studies. For me to do this, first I want to talk about how we learn about the future. Type 1 is single loop, where we're looking for takeaways, actionable steps. Type 2 is double loop, where we're trying to go outside the paradigm, learn about learning. Now type 3 in future studies is what I call narrative foresight. We're trying to understand our inner story, stories of others. We're moving from forecasting to inventing a different future. To do that, we have to change our story, that I call rescripting. Now, my conceptual framework around future studies is a 6 pillars approach. Pillar 1 is essentially on mapping the future, and the method I use is the futures triangle, which looks at the image of the future, the push of the present, and the weight of history. Pillar 2 is anticipation. The method I use there is emerging issues analysis. There we try to find the seeds of change. We try to solve tomorrow's problems today. So we look at what might be emerging weak signals. We try to identify them and work with organizations, countries, cities, nations to identify these weak signals and try to do something about them. Or using the futures wheel, we try to anticipate or logically infer what might happen if X happens. If there's more population in one part of the world, what will that mean? If there's more diabetes in one area, what will that mean? The third pillar of the 6 pillars approach is macro history. In macro history, we're looking at the grand patterns of change. I use the works of macro historians like P.R. Sarkar, Ibn Khaldun, Arnold Toynbee, Peter Sorkin, and we're saying, are there some grand patterns of change? Not just the linear, but what is the role of the cyclical, the pendulum, the spiral, bifurcation. The fourth pillar of future studies is deepening the future. We want to go not just looking at the patterns of change, but we want to go deeper. We want to understand beyond the litany or the headlines of future studies, the projections, the data, what are the systemic causes, beneath that what are the worldviews, and underneath that what are the myths and metaphors. After deepening, we want to go to creating alternatives. That's the scenarios. Scenarios deal with risk, with uncertainty. They capture large amounts of information in simple ways. The last pillar of future studies is transforming the future. We use visioning and backcasting. The future studies is not just about predicting or forecasting, but we want to understand the future so we can create a different future. Now, doing that takes effort. Most people stay in the world of realism. Future studies moves from realism to possibility, from one future to multiple futures, from no story to finding what our narrative is. Essentially, future studies wishes to disrupt the future. We want to create an alternative future. Now, your role in Turkey is brilliant. You can bring together multiple civilizational perspectives. You can bring together multiple perspectives on macro history, and you can not only understand the future differently, you can start to create futures in a unique, different way that I think people all over the world will have a lot to learn from Turkey. My own work is in Tamkang in Taiwan. It's also in Australia at the University of the Sunshine Coast, and with organizations throughout the world. Again, the same question for most of them is the current system, business as usual, has become business was usual. Everyone senses there's major transitions, there's major disruptions going on. How do we get a better handle on the future? How do we learn differently? How do we create differently? How do we use these skills and methodologies of future studies to create a better future for everyone? Thanks so much. Hope you have a great course and a great year.